we got a record of it. And it's just been kind of nice to have this saved. And we've got a Facebook page that we get quite a few people looking at our Facebook page, and I actually put a link usually on that the next day or so. So if you miss the meeting or you want to share it with somebody else, I've had some people say that they look at it later. They couldn't make it tonight or for whatever reason, and they like it. So, all right, so here we go. Thank you, everybody. Glad everybody could make it. Hope everybody is. We were talking earlier, one of the things we were chatting about was the weather. I've got to say, this is my favorite time of the year, and I think everybody else too. So if you live in the South and you don't like the fall, then you don't appreciate it. Once the hurricanes all go through, God almighty. Yeah. I see David shaking his head on that. I'm sure he's maybe got some more to add on that. All right, well, let's do the business side of it, and then we can get into the fun part. Treasurer's report and the minutes from the meeting. Do we have a motion to accept that?
Make a motion that we accept the minutes as posted in Sparks and the treasurer's report as reported in Sparks.
All right.
So
Joe was ready on that.
Place.
Lynn seconded it, or he's trying to do his best Churchill impersonation there. He gets you a cigar and you'll be pretty close. All right, so all in favor? Any opposed? All right, we still got money. We got plenty of money because we haven't spent anything for refreshments in a while. And we've kept Barry 1A under control on doing stuff out at the repeater. All right, let's just hit some of the announcements. Joe, you're usually a good source for announcements. Do you want?
Okay, first of all, I got a note from Bonnie Stevens that there's going to be a visitation Saturday before Bill's memorial service from 10 to 11, and then the memorial service at 11, and the reception following at Lord of Life, 6865 Poplar Pike at Lord of Life Lutheran Church.
Okay. Yeah, I saw an email on that. I had that on my notes. I thought you might announce that.
Then also for training, I've got a general class. It's listed in Sparks to start on the 26th of October on some Monday and Thursday nights, so I don't conflict with meeting days that I try to attend. And it goes through to December the 7th from 6:15 to 9:30 on those days. We'll need at least 6 people in the class to have the class.
Okay.
It just isn't worthwhile for fewer than 6.
Is it going to be virtual?
Virtual class, yes.
Okay.
And right. Testing on December the 7th.
Did we on Saturday? Did we have a pretty good turnout on the testing then?
We had 3 gentlemen test. WA2 JXD went from general to extra. Kent Brown KO4 HOB went from tech to general, and Michael Payne went from nothing to general.
I would say nothing. Went from unlicensed. All right.
Well, quite a number of my students have gone from tech and general all in one.
Yeah, that is not really. There are several people that they say something about it, and I based on your success with that, I encourage a lot of people to try it. You can kind of tell by talking to them if they're confident. If they're pretty confident on the tech, heck, there's no reason not to. Especially right now where it's so hard to test. It's maybe not quite as easy as it was before. All right. Here, I got a few people I'm clicking in here.
Hey, Joe.
Yes.
I happened to get a radiogram for HOB. And he
Yeah.
told me the other day when I was talking to him that he was going to go for general. And I'm proud of him.
Yep.
That's his radiogram.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in Germantown.
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, okay. Hey, Kent.
Thanks, Joe. You look a lot different without a mask.
You look different with Carolyn on your name tag. You need to change your name and put your call sign on.
It's just only on weekends they call me Caroline, right?
All
Can
right.
we be politically incorrect? Because I'm not going to fit in if I have to be politically correct.
All right.
No.
All right. Steve, I see you up here in the top part of my screen here, and you've usually got some updates on what's going on with your activities. You got something to share? You know,
Yes, sir.
hurricanes, tornadoes, fires, floods, and
Yes, I do. Yes, everybody recognized that Hurricane Delta come roaring through almost the same path the other one came through. So those folks in Louisiana didn't have a chance, but they did call for the radio operators in this operation too. And I actually sent out the reports that came my way so that the Aries folks could do it. But they, yeah, they had a lot of cities that didn't have water or had to be on a boil alert in Louisiana and stuff. And again, I think we still need to work on developing operators that could be used in the, I know that we had West Tennessee monitoring the frequencies to see if anybody called out and stuff. And from what I got told, everything went fairly smooth. Want to remind everybody that the 15th at 10:15 is the Great Shakeout. It's the earthquake test that they have every year this time. I know Fayette County gets real involved. We get all the schools involved and all the businesses and stuff involved in it. And we usually run a net at 10:15 for Fayette County folks to check in to tell us what they're done to get prepared for the big shake. Tonight's meeting is already on Aries Connect for the Aries members that need to go sign up and get credit for being at tonight's meeting. Also, several dates this month, and I sent this out to be shared with them. Mars is doing tests with where they want operators to check in with them on 60 meters. And I think Bob V checked in the other day and actually heard somebody from California, what he was telling me. So that activity's going. Otherwise, it's been fairly quiet.
okay, thanks. That's one thing that's been nice doing these Zoom meetings. I know it's been easier for you to rather than coming in from Mountain Fayette County, giving us good updates on that and keeping us updated. God, I hate to hear you say we're getting ready for or practicing for an earthquake. That's about the last thing on the list for this year, I think. So that's that would be the icing on the cake. But it always could happen. Let's see here. Kind of looking through. Anybody else have any other announcements or interesting?
I don't know if David Norris will bring it up, but Ed Hudgens said that if anybody has some good 80-meter stations, they're looking for the net for net operators for the Delta severe weather nets. Contact Ed or David Thomas, Tennessee section manager. for more information on it.
Yeah, I just became one.
No, okay.
Now,
Yeah,
what
and
is
that's-
it? 80 meters, and they just got a regular net,
40 and 80 meters primary.
40 and 80, 40 and 80.
40 and 80. All right.
And what we need is people that have good stations that are loud. We don't need peanut whistles. We need loud stations that can get in there and be heard, because we're having some interference issues from some of the other folks that get close by with the net. So, and we got a gentleman down in Louisiana that the FCC's been after for a while. He likes to get in there and make a butt of himself. So, you got to have some power. That's what we're looking for. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I'm pretty sure we've got some 80. I've actually got 80. I don't do much on it, but that might be something I could help with and get some more 80 meter time. All right. Anything else? I've got a few things, but give y'all a chance before we move.
I want
on.
to throw one in there real quick.
Yeah.
17's going to be an all-day ham day, I think. We got a ham breakfast that morning, believe it or not. There's Bill's service, and then there's a sale at Tony's house from 2 to 6 that night or afternoon that I think was originally scheduled for that morning, but because of Bill's memorial service, it probably got pushed back. But that's selling stuff off at Mary Brignoli's house for her ex-husband. Not ex-husband, but sound like he husband.
Okay. All right. I may get with you, and I can put the information for that up on our Facebook page. But I'll see. I'll talk to you tomorrow, or if not, some other time, and we'll get that out. Put it on our Facebook page. So the breakfast at Danvers is that morning, and I'm gonna try to do that, and still can make it down to the other thing, for Bill, at later on that morning. So that would be a nice time that'd be a full day. And I think everybody knows we've got the junk in the trunk swap meet rescheduled for, what's that, the 24th?
24th.
24th. Still be at the church, 8 till noon. Hope for good weather. And that should work.
It was sure raining Saturday.
We made the right call. We made the right call. We weren't sure for a little while. I mean, it actually slacked off a little bit, but 8 to 9 o'clock, it was coming down pretty good at my house. So I think we made the right call on that one. And I like to do it. I like to make the decision as soon as we can, so that people aren't wondering at 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning what they need to do. So that's one thing. With all the special events we've had canceled, I've gotten some more sleep this year than we normally do. Like every special event we do, I wake up. I got a buddy of mine that goes to fishing tournaments, and we got a deal where I wake up to go to the ham fest, and I call him to wake him up to go fishing. So I think sometimes I get up early in the morning than he does to go fishing. All right. Anything else? All right. One thing that I've got is we think we've got it worked out for our officers for next year. We've got Mary Jean, KN4 FEL. She's moving up to vice president. We got Jim Martin, KD4 FUU is going to be treasurer. Not going to be, is on the ballot for treasurer. On the ballot for secretary is Carolyn Horn, KX4QF. Now program, we got Ray Cole, KX5RC, has offered to fill that position part-time, and Ian is going to help out when he needs to on that. Publication, Mike Harrison, KM4 MRW. Meetings, Scott has realized that he slacked through this year, so he's going to fill in for next year. I told him I hope that we are actually going to meet some next year, so he's going to have to work. Training, Joe has said for one more year at least, he's going to keep doing training. And trustee is, that's not an elected position. It's appointed by the president, and the president we're going to have for next year is considering allowing him to be trustee again next year, because the president that's on the ballot for next year is me. Now, like I've said, all of these are the ones that are on the ballot so far, and that's why I wanted to go ahead and announce it. I think I put in the Sparks, that we've still got, next month is the actual election. So if anybody would like to be added, definitely let us know by next month, and we'll add you to the ballot. This doesn't mean that these are the only ones, but this is what we have on the ballot so far. And I'd like to thank Joe. He did quite a bit of arm twisting, and I tell you what, I don't know that Joe's a good friend to have, but he's got all the skeletons. He knows where all the bodies are buried too, so he knows how to talk people into offering to help out, and that's appreciated. Anybody have any questions or any comments on that? I see that we've got quite a few, if not all, the people that are offering to be on the ballot on the Zoom call. So I'd like to thank you for offering, and we'll see how the election comes out next month. I'm on pins and needles. All right. Well, we've all been looking forward to hearing from David Norris. I see that he's on here. David normally comes about once a year. He's the director for the Delta Division for ARRL. Well, that's easy for me to say. He lives in Little Rock, so it's usually a little bit of a trip for him to come, and we appreciate that. And another Joe idea was that since we're doing Zoom calls, David would probably be available for this and save him a few miles, and we can still get an update. So with everything going on this year, I'm sure that maybe I'm interested to see if he's got some things that he could share that the organization as a whole is doing, and maybe locally, and kind of recap this year, and if he knows that anything's going to open up for next year. So with that, David, and if you've got something to share, I did plan ahead, and I've learned my lesson. I do have it set up where you can share a screen if you need to do that. So.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Steve, and good evening, everyone. And I am in Little Rock. I'm actually in my office. If you saw some of the guys walking through a while ago, we are having projects going in Little Rock for the DOT. So, you may see a gentleman in an orange vest walk by in or out here. So, good evening. That's what I do. I'm David Norris, K5UZ. I am the Delta Division Director, and my job, I am an engineer here in Little Rock with the Arkansas Department of Transportation. This is my engineer's office, as you see around. A little better connection here than out in Podunk, out in Redfield off of Highway 46 and BFE. Live out in the middle of nowhere where you don't have any noise.
That's what you got to do. Anyway, it's good to be here, and I'm going to try to share a screen because I do have a PowerPoint. Normally, when I'd go to a club, I'd give a little PowerPoint, or I'd go to a ham fest, I'd give a little PowerPoint. The last ham fest I went to and gave a PowerPoint was in March down at the Louisiana State Convention. And the governor came in and shut us down on day one. At the end of day one, says, you guys can't do this tomorrow.
Wow.
We're shutting things down. It was that date. And just to show you how things have changed, I've been to one in-person club meeting since that time. That's Shreveport Amateur Radio Association, Sarah. They've been having live meetings for the last 3 months. I went down there in July and put on this similar program to this tonight. And it was really fun. It was a full house, big room. Everybody was spread out, social distance. So it's definitely a little different than what it has been in the past and what we're used to. There was a real ham fest in Tennessee, in East Tennessee, a couple of weeks ago. But I had this hand recently in a cast due to an accident. So I just had just gotten it out. And Bonnie said, I really don't feel good about traveling. I don't want to go. And I said, well, I can't drive the whole way over there with the hand still not working correctly and going numb and still just, I just didn't feel comfortable driving. So I had to beg off of that one. And Dave Thomas did a great job handling the duties. But I do have a screen to share, and with that, I think we'll get on with it, and let's see if it works.
All right.
We have a PowerPoint. Let's see if
I think I've done my part, so let's see if it works.
Yeah, let's see if it works. Let me see if I can get this thing to go. So let's see what happens. It's showing, let's see, screen 3, screen 2, and screen 1. Let's do that. I've got 3 screens, so here we are. Okay, it's still showing.
Yeah, I'm seeing you. There we go.
Okay, you
There
see
we
it
go.
now?
There we
Okay,
go.
here we go. Okay, we got it. Okay, well, I want to welcome everyone. And it's like it's league night, and tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the ARRL. And 2020 has definitely been different, and we are into the 2nd century of the league. And it has been a doozy this year. Let me see. Okay, which one do we have showing here? Because I'm losing. Get it to crank up. Okay. Okay, here we go. Got it going. Got to find the right one. See you, sir. 3 things I want you guys, all of us in here, to take away from tonight is 1, recruit the new amateurs, 2, be an Elmer, and 3, build relationships. And I think Delta Club does a pretty good job of all of these. I think we've got a ARRL National Instructor of the Year in here, and I think you guys have a lot of good programs going. I see club numbers. I see that you have new members coming in with your test session, new amateurs, and I think you do a good job building relationships with your club, with your fellow amateurs in the Memphis Mid-South region, and with your served agencies. It seemed to be active with your emergency communications over there, so I commend you for that. That's what we're really needing to do. Talk a little bit about our leadership. We have, of course, Ed and myself been here for a little while, and we absolutely appreciate you guys and everybody out there, the membership. You're fantastic. You do a great job being here for everyone and doing your part of it as well. But Ed and I, you make it easy for us, and we do appreciate you as members. We got our 4 section managers, of course, Jay Ferguson over in Arkansas, J.M. Robinson, John Mark Robinson down in Louisiana. And John is not feeling well. He has come down with the virus, unfortunately. So we're going to share our prayers with him. Malcolm, W5XX in Mississippi, just immediately to your south. And I know several of you are in Mississippi section. And say that Malcolm is our longest serving section manager in the league now. So congratulations to him. And again, Mississippi does a good job as well. Dave Thomas, of course, your new section manager in Tennessee, and he is just doing a fantastic job as the new section manager. He's just jumped right in. I think he's just picked right up where Keith left off and is doing some good things. Appreciate his efforts as well. So help Dave out every chance you get. Your section manager is doing you a good job. Of course, we have a number of assistant directors within the division leadership, and those are people that are appointed. They're not elected like all those on the last side are. These are appointed by myself. They're kind of like the staff, much like the section manager appoints his staff people. In the field organization, I have a number of assistant directors, Joel being one of them. So they give me feedback and keep me abreast of what's going on and help out every chance they get. And just happy to have these guys because they're a lot of the pushers and organizers and guys that move and ladies that move things within this organization, within the hobby, and within the amateur radio service. And I do appreciate everything they do. There's a number of things that assistant directors do. Generally, they tend to be geographic in nature. And that way they can kind of give me feedback of what's going on across this division. We encompass 4 states, of course, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee. And it's good to get that feedback from the membership through the assistant directors. Kind of gives another point of contact for us and the membership. They can also be function specific in nature. We are looking for a new youth assistant director, as John Williams is going into his senior year as a double E, electrical engineering major at the University of Arkansas, and I think he's looking at getting a master's degree, so he's quite busy right now. So if you know someone that's young, a youth member that wants to step into a leadership role within this division, please send them my way, and Ed and I will fix them right up. Phil Green up in Union City, of course. Phil in for PWG. He's our webmaster. Steve Waterman is our contact with FEMA and also WinLink Digital Communications. And Hank, K3ORX, still kind of our team of guy. Catherine Goodrich, also W4CMG, is our newsletter editor. And that takes care of the assistant directors. Also within the organization, within the ARRL, the board of directors specifically, we have what are known as advisory committees. Right now, there are 2 advisory committees. That is the DXAC and the Contest Advisory Committee, the CAC. Steve Rutledge in for JQQ over in Memphis is our DXAC member. And Stan Stockton, K5GO over in Harrison and Siloam Springs, Arkansas, is our Contest Advisory Committee member. And also Amy Bullock, N5TBB, Carl's wife, over in Ripley, Mississippi, is our Legislative Action Programs Coordinator. The newsletter, of course, is the Delta Diamond. It's online, and we're going to be putting out a new issue soon. Now that I can type again, and look forward to doing that. So if you know anything that's going on newsworthy wise within the club, something you think would make a neat article, send it our way and we'll be happy to put it up there, post it up and email the notification to everybody about it. So we're always looking for news articles and would appreciate anything that you may have, especially during these times when we're all sitting around looking for things to do. I'm sure there's plenty of good projects and other things that the club members and the club is doing that you'd like to share with others so they can make their hands, take a hand at it, take a spin at it. Also, I'd like to announce again the 2019 Delta Division Ham of the Year, and that's Dr. Dave Icovey, WA8NQE from Knoxville, Tennessee. And we will be taking nominations shortly for the 2020 Ham of the Year, as it is mid-October. Time's ticking. So be thinking about that. You got somebody that you think would make a good Delta Division Ham of the Year, go ahead and nominate them for the Tennessee Ham of the Year, because the way we're doing it now is we're taking one from each of the 4 states, 4 sections, and that's where the competition is going to be between. Be thinking about that. But congratulations to Dr. Dave. All right, let's talk about strange times and the pandemic and the August virtual board meetings. That was different. We've had Zoom committee meetings with the PSC and the executive committee and working groups within the board and ad hoc committees within the board. But as far as a whole board meeting, this was something else. And we basically had a Zoom board meeting. In fact, we had a hybrid session. We did it in 2 sessions, actually. We had a hybrid session in August that dealt primarily with the new CEO selection and interview. And then we had a completely virtual board meeting at the usual time of the year in July. How did that work? Well, it actually worked pretty well. I don't know that it was as productive as the usual board meeting, but it certainly was less expensive and it certainly was less time consuming. We got it done in a day. I don't think we covered as much ground as we normally do, but we had the usual committee meetings before. Those were done the night before virtually again via Zoom. And we turned around and the next day we did a board meeting. What normally takes 2 days, a day and a half, we did in a day. But I don't think we had the as productive as we normally were, though we did get things resolved and things worked. We did take it down to the CEO issue. We got that to the point that we narrowed it down to a field of finalists, and we moved forward in August. And in August, we met, I think it was the 18th of August, we met in Denver for 2 days for that weekend and interviewed our 4 finalists. Those were done as a hybrid interview between the board members, some of us being live in the room, I was one of them, and others remotely through Zoom. We even had one of the candidates on Zoom, but 3 decided they would show up in person. It was a couple of days of pretty intense interviewing, and then the next day it was a review and basically elected the new CEO, and that was NA2AA Dave Minster, who was one of them that did show up. And I will say this, he had an excellent round of interviews, and the guy is very much an enthusiast. He was the most enthusiastic fellow I have ever interviewed for anything ever in my professional or amateur related careers. And we've been through 3 CEO rounds of interviews through 3 different times. And I will say this, this fellow was the most passionate. And I think that's what everybody else thought. So hopefully good things will come. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you our new CEO, Dave Minster. And Dave's a younger guy. I would say younger guy in quotations. Like myself, he started out, he's about the same age I am. He's in his 50s. He started out the same time I did, about in the 70s. He's a CW buff, so I liked him already, you know. He's a contester. I bumped into him in the contest, and he works DX. So, you know, we've ran into each other on the air quite a bit. But as did the other 3 of the other candidates I've known for quite a while. But Dave really, he was impressive in the interview process. And again, even the folks that were sitting off virtually, thought the same thing. They caught the vibe that, you know, the enthusiasm. So, and that's a good thing to have, because as I've always said, within this hobby, enthusiasm is contagious, and that's really what we need. And someone's a little younger that can get out there and really fire up the troops, and I hope he certainly does. So far, he's certainly impressed me just in the few days he's been there. So good things are expected. Got a fading mouse. One of the things that we have done and pushed forward and continuing to push forward, and this is something that Dr. Mickle kind of started, and it's something I've been pushing for. I guess a lot of you that have gone to the forums have heard me talk about this for a few years, but levels of membership, and we're starting to do this now. We're putting options on your membership, options on your publications you get. You know, on the air. What do y'all think about On the Air, that new magazine we've come out for the new amateurs? I think it's just great.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that just fits the bill. We've needed to do that for years, and you know, we finally rolled with that. We're looking at just different things in that nature, things that you like, specialties we're offering to. There's a lot of online free stuff too.
Email address for the church. So that for Diane.
I muted him.
Diane? Hello?
All right, here we go.
Okay. Looking in there, and I think I see Henry Leggett that's just checked in there. So, hi, Henry. Good to see you. Always good to see Henry. But one of the things we've been working for is levels of membership, and we're going to look at some things there that kind of make it a value added to this. We want more value to the membership, and that's where we're headed with this organization. We're going to have to. We're absolutely going to have to in order to compete and survive going into the future. We're going to look at some things with dues levels and promotions and specials. You've already seen a number of those come out, and you know, folks, it's here. It's finally here, and I'm happy to see that. I think that'll help the longevity of this organization. That going out and recruiting new amateurs and being a good Elmer, 2 of those 3 points. And of course, we build those relationships, that other 3rd point. Here's another thing that's out there, the current, kind of keeps you informed of what you're doing. And while we're stuck here, sitting here on this slide, I would like to say that a lot of the members out there don't sign up for a lot of the options that we have available to you from the website. And one of the things you need to do is go in there and set up your profile and get these emails, get these notifications, because there's a number of things that we can give to you information wise. Just email them to you and make them available, and go in there and take advantage of this, because there's a number of publications out there that are just free for the taking electronically. Jump in there and get them, like National Contest Journal or QEX, the Experimenters magazine that we put out on the quarter. You can go in there and get them digitally. Go in there and sign up for it. If you have a little problem doing it, just call headquarters during the week, and they'll help you right out. I want to press that and stress that. More value, more membership service. That's what we're about. One of the things we do have going, moving into the 2nd century, in the 21st century now, is the Lifelong Learning Project. We're starting to throw some things out there. You'll start noticing on the website, and you may get an email notice about some webinar we're putting up on something, or some new content that we're putting out there for you. Well, that's part of this project. Our firm that we hired to do this is helping us put this together. We're putting the content in there, but they're setting it up for us to be able to get it out. We got training for ARRL. We got training for NTS coming online with this. A lot of DIY projects I'm noticing. And out of this whole thing that I really enjoy and that I'm really grateful for is, in the end of this process, or somewhere along the way, we're going to get a new website. And I have been wanting a new website ever since this thing came online several years ago. I don't like it. Yeah, we're going to have to spend some money on it, but at the end, it's worth it because we got to do something different. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you know, you're just ensuring failure. So let's try some new stuff. And I think this is a good platform for us to get out digitally, electronically, and get some of these tech savvy younger people involved. And that's what it's about. I like seeing younger faces in the club, and there are a few out there, and I'm happy for it. I really am. We got a research working group that we're looking at doing from A&F Committee, and you can just kind of see what it is here. We're working in concert with LLL Lifelong Learning Project with Mintz and Hope, and we're looking at this to be implemented through our A&F Committee. And the point of the whole matter with this group is to get better feedback from you, the membership, and kind of make us a little more responsive as a board and as an organization.
David,
Yes, sir.
give them what the full name for A&F is and PSC.
Certainly. Well, you know, I've been doing this for so long. I just, you know, A&F is Administrative and Finance Committee. And if I talk about PSC, that's the Programs and Services Committee. Those are the two standing committees of the board. I think I've been around on all of them at some point in time, but they're standing committees. They're appointed by the president, and except the executive committee, which is an elected committee amongst the board members. So A&F does administration and finance. They basically deal with the budgets and money. Programs and Services Committee is just that. They deal with programs and services. And the executive committee is kind of all the president's men. It's a number of the directors that can kind of act as a board in between the board meetings. However, these days and times, it's about to the point that we may no longer need an executive committee, but it's still set up and we'll still be using it until such time as the board decides not to. There we are. One of the things we did, along with the standing committees, of course, we have ad hoc committees and we have working groups, which serve the same purpose as a ad hoc committee, unless it's just a little bit smaller, constituted a little bit differently. And they are generally driven by a specific problem or issue that needs to be addressed. One of the things we had was an ELL committee, and ELL equals entry level license. This was done several years ago, and was looking at one of the problems we had with the new technicians and the high dropout rate. Well, we did a real good sampling. We did a real good survey. We surveyed about 8,000 out of 20,000 people that we knew of dropping out, and got some good information and feedback. And one of the top reasons, not the top reason for folks dropping out, was lack of elmering or mentoring. Nobody helped them. Well, I think Delta Club does a pretty good job of that. So I can't knock you as a group there on that one. Your recruiting and your elmering. But one of the other problems they had is they weren't able to pursue HF or had little exposure on HF. They weren't able to operate any of the new digital modes on the open HF bands at the bottom of the cycle where we're at, but fixing to get out of. And they were limited to repeaters on VHF and UHF, and nobody was on. Of course, there's always this answer that gets in there when somebody gets into the hobby, and that's no interest. As my Elmer said, ham radio isn't for everybody. It's just not. I mean, it just may not be your cup of tea. But I think a good number of these folks may have stayed in the hobby if one or more of the above had happened. So that kind of spurred some other activity and got us looking at a lot of things. And it led to all of the Lifetime Learning website and all the other new things we're trying with the levels of membership and other outreach programs and helping folks retain and helping us as club members and guys that have been here for a while, old timers, OTs, be better Elmers. Now, the other thing that happened was, out of all this, we came up with some more technician privileges. RM 11823. It has gone to the FCC and it's just kind of sitting there. And it may be one of the summary dismissed victims coming up, I'm afraid, but we do have that going on. And we have a number of things before the FCC that are sitting there waiting to be adjudicated and moved. But this is just something we're trying to put forward to take spectrum that a lot of it they already have and give them some privileges to utilize that spectrum and get them better engaged, get the technicians better engaged on HF. Moving forward, switch gears a little bit here. We did, over the last couple of years, come up with a new VM, volunteer monitoring program. It's replaced the old official observer program. It is the amateur auxiliary now still. But of course, we got the new sheriff in town right here, and that's Mr. Hollingsworth. And we have had some success with this on getting some of the mess cleaned up on the air. Riley has been really good to refer things to Laura and to the right folks at FCC, along with our new attorney, Dave Sadal, who is a ham himself, that replaced Mr. Imlay when he left. And we've got a pretty good insight into the FCC with these gentlemen. And, you know, we're going to do the best we can trying to get this cleaned up. We've gone after the big problem we had down in Louisiana. We went after the big problem we had out in Los Angeles. We're still working towards that. The gentleman down in Louisiana that's been the problem on HF and VHF local repeaters and just absolutely been a holy terror down there has been fined $18,000, and he's told them he ain't paying it, so I expect them to come and get him any day. So there is some movement. The gentleman with the Warfra net and repeaters out in Los Angeles, they're on to him too. So, you know, I would expect that we get some movement out of this. But again, we're in strange times, so don't expect things to be instantaneous. And as far as movement within the FCC, there hasn't been that many people in that office building in Washington, D.C. or Gettysburg for quite some time. They're just now starting to come back into the building. So please understand, these are different times. I guess a lot of you have read about the 3.5 gigahertz band issue, about them taking away our secondary allocation on this one. There's not, just didn't look like there was a lot of hope until we started pressing this. And as the old University of Texas coach Abe Lemons once said, we're not dead yet. Looks like they kind of backed up a little bit on this one. The FCC did, and decided that, you know what, we're not just going to kick them out. We're going to sunset this until we figure out something a little different. They can continue with their secondary user privileges there until, you know, we decide what the final determination is going to be. So we're still working on this one, so we're not dead yet. We may yet salvage a piece of this one. I know there's a lot of amateur television, a lot of linking going on, and just terrestrial work that goes on this band. And we really don't want to surrender any band. We're going to fight for any frequency that we have, any spectrum that we have. We will continue to fight for it. Little update on the ARRL program. You know, we've been working on that for a few years, getting that updated and changing things around. Well, we do have the new title out there, Emergency Management Director. Excuse me, get a little dry mouth. And we do have a new department at headquarters, and the new Emergency Management Director has been hired, Paul Gilbert, KE5ZW. He is the past section manager for South Texas, so he knows a little bit about hurricanes. Aries Connect, of course, is being revamped. We're looking at that, getting some changes made there. And we're just making more resources available to Aries overall. We are making a concerted effort to push Aries and to give it the recognition and the budgeting and the time and resources that it has deserved. We want to promote more open channels to the section managers and the SECs, the ECs, and the field organization out there within Aries. And we want to stress the support to our served agencies and our non-government organization partners. We are listening and we are wanting to help and make changes and push our emergency communications capabilities to the next level and help the field organization and you out there do this. What can we do to help? Let us know. And one of the things that does help us is having good numbers. When we go to Washington, having good numbers helps. And when they're after our 3.5 gigahertz, having good numbers helps because hams vote. And I want to say this, I've really been proud of all of you. And the numbers are spectacular. After the dues increase in 2016, our numbers and our membership started dropping off, and it dropped off drastically. There was a lot of commotion and turmoil going on within the headquarters and the board, a lot of changeover, and the numbers went down. But as you can see, for September of 2020, the numbers within the division have popped up, and Tennessee's been the biggest part of this. I'm just really ecstatic, really pleased that we are at a 2.9% growth rate versus a 1.3 for the entire country. And you can see between the 2 months that it's been a pretty steady growth. It's been going on for the better part of this year. So we've turned the corner, and I do appreciate you as members getting out and promoting the league. We've done our part as much as we can do from the leadership positions, from its position as vice director, my position as director, and all the assistant directors and the section managers. But you folks have really impressed us, and you have my humble and sincere thanks for turning this around. Numbers matter, and membership that's growing matters. When we go to Congress to get something done, and we're going to be having to go to Congress to get some things done in the near future with antenna legislation, with spectrum defense, we will need you. And this is the best medicine that we can prescribe when we go to Congress. Thank you very much. Another little incentive we got going on, we have a book set that we give away within the league. We don't advertise it that much, but it's a discounted rate for a whole set of books that you can give to a library. And this can be a public library, school library, doesn't matter, but we can give them away. And we've started the Plant the Seed initiative back in January. And this is where we challenge you, the club, go to your local libraries and give them a new set of books and get your foot in the door, get another avenue to where we can get some programs at the library and maybe run some classes. Now, like I say, it's been a strange year. This thing kind of stopped in March, but the book sets are available, and as things open up, let's start throwing those feelers out there. Let's be proactive. Let's get out. Let's advertise the hobby. Let's cast a wide net and catch some fish. Here is the book set. It is 10 publications, and if you add that up, what they sell for new in the catalog or on the website, excuse me, it is ragweed season here. It adds up to quite a bit more than $200 just with the handbook and the antenna book. You know, you're looking at close to $100 right there. So add all that up. That's a bargain. That's available to clubs to give to the libraries. So please think about it and make that effort. Let's grow. We have a system within the division, one of our assistant directors can link up with your club location, and he knows where all the libraries are with the geospatial data that he runs. And he can come up with a list of names of libraries that you can go and approach. So that's available. Just let me know and we'll hook you up. We'll fix you right up. Talk a little bit about one of the new awards we have, and we're gave one away this week. Got the plaque going on it. The ARRL Order of the Centurion, and that honors longtime ARRL members who have reached 100 years of age. They've been in the league for a long time, 40 years. And with that, you get free league membership. If you don't have a life membership, we'll come up with something else. You get a nice plaque. You get your picture and your bio and QST, and you get membership in the Order of the Centurion. And we have the process worked out, and we're giving them out. So if you know somebody that meets the criteria, 100 years old or older, and have been in the league for this long, please nominate them. We will give them a plaque and put them in QST, and these folks need to be honored. Well, here we are. Let's talk about hurricane season a little bit. It was a very active one. Last year we had a couple, but this year was quite active. We had some big storms, and two affected this division directly. Hurricane Laura and Hurricane Delta that just blew through here. Laura was a big storm. It grew into a monster. Lost a little strength when it came ashore, Lake Charles, Morgan City area, but it did quite a bit of damage. We stood up our nets in Louisiana. We worked with headquarters, and of course we coordinated through the Delta Division Emergency Net. The Delta Division Memorandum of Understanding between all four sections of this division. Tennessee and Arkansas gave net control operator support. And again, I'm going to make the plug like Joe did on behalf of Ed and say that we need operators. We need net control operators with good stations that are loud and can hear well to jump in here. We need some folks to volunteer. And I'm going to make that plea with you tonight. Please, next time this call comes out, volunteer, take a shift. The more we have, the shorter the shifts.
David, I'm back.
Ed's back. Great. Ed coordinates our Delta Emergency Net, and he runs it for us, does a great job. He's on top of it. He makes all the schedules up. And with that, I'm going to let Ed speak for a little bit to this.
Well,
Mr. Hudgens.
Like you said, we're looking for good operators with net control experience that also have good stations. A lot of times propagation into the coastal areas from Tennessee and Arkansas is not that good. So you got to be able to hear, and they got to be able to hear you. So if you've got a good station and you're interested in helping out, I want to hear from you. We keep a list of vetted net control operators in every one of the 4 states. So if there's any of you Delta Club members that are interested, I'd like to hear from you. I'll get you in contact with Dave Thomas, the section manager who keeps up the list of Tennessee volunteers, and that's who I call on. Generally, when there's something on the coast, it's Arkansas and Tennessee that stand up to help out Mississippi and Louisiana. Jay has got a similar situation in Arkansas where he's got a list of people that he knows he can call on. So at the first instance, the section manager down there will call me, and I'll get with the 2 section managers up here, and we'll start putting together a schedule and try to keep them to like 2-hour shifts and have nobody have more than one shift, maybe two shifts in a 24-hour period. So if we've got enough people, we can spread it around. So I'd love to have some more volunteers. Luckily this time Delta started deteriorating after it got into the Delta division too far. And we stood down about midday on Saturday, but we started on Friday. And like David said, we had Laura and we also had Sally. And you know, 3 runs in a year is enough, I hope, but it's 2020. Yeah. Back to Ned.
Thank you, sir. Yes, 3 runs in a year is enough. In fact, I remember one where 2 runs in a year were more than enough with Katrina and Rita. That just about did us in, because we were on the air with Katrina for 3 weeks, and yeah, it was the worst. We were wore out with that one, but you know, we did what we had to do. They're not going to be of that duration, I don't think, any longer. Take that off, excuse me. They're not going to be of that duration any longer, and it's just not, with the hardened infrastructure like it is, I don't see those communications emergencies lasting that long. Not that we're not going to have them. Yes, we're going to have them, but with the infrastructure being what it is, we're not going to be stuck there for a month, 3 weeks like we were. Not in the continental United States. Now, Puerto Rico was different, but we don't know, depending on the nature of the beast, what could happen. Now, an earthquake on New Madrid, all bets are off. The other little joker in the deck that we got to watch out for, emergency communication wise, is an EMP attack. That's going to be the one where we will be needed. Read up on it, research it a little bit, see what you need to do to harden yourself for that one. But that's really the ugly joker in the deck. And with that, is there any questions about the hurricane response or ARRL or MCOM that we've got going on? Well, again, here we are. That one actually dissolved. I tried to keep the whiz-bang graphics to a minimum on this, is to not have a bandwidth issue tonight. 3 things to take away from that. 1, recruit new amateurs. Your club's doing a great job of that. I must commend you and Joe and everyone involved with it. Being an Elmer, being a mentor. Again, you're doing a great job with that. I think you got some pretty good retention going on from what I've been seeing and hearing over there. And 3, building those relationships. We have to do that amongst ourselves, amongst our serve agencies. I'll add a number 4 to that at the end of this one. And it was something that Riley said several years ago at Dayton, and that's be kind to your fellow amateur. There's enough squabbling in the world right now to sink a battleship, to quote an old phrase, but be kind to your fellow amateur. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we can get along on the air. And I've always thought that, you know, amateur radio brings out the better side of the individual. Let's be gentlemanly and ladylike on the air. Be kind to your fellow amateur. With that, thank you for being here and putting up with me droning on in my real engineer's office tonight in Little Rock, Arkansas. Boy, that was the cheapest, fastest trip I've ever taken to a Delta Club meeting in Memphis ever. I want to thank you for facilitating this and allowing Ed and I to come in here and visit with you tonight. Ed Hudgens, live from Nashville, Tennessee, as I always say. And
an ex-Delta Club member, I would point out.
That's right. He was a Memphian.
Back in the covered wagon days.
Well, you know what? The covered wagon days were fun. I think I was a little tight during part of that. But anyway, that being said, I want to say 7 threes to all. And if you got any questions.
Well, one thing I wanted to point out that you were just automatically elected for another 3-year term starting, when is it? January 1?
January 1 at noon, and so was Ed. Ed was automatically reelected too, so.
It
You
was
know,
a
we,
hard
I know the
battle,
feeling.
wasn't it, David?
hard-fought campaign, hard-fought campaign. We enjoy doing this, and I enjoy the membership. It has definitely been a strange year. I do love getting out to visit with everyone at the ham fests, at the club meetings, but this year, you know, this has pretty much been it right here on Zoom.
Thank you, David, for joining us tonight, and Ed.
Yeah, thank you.
Thought it would be a good way to save you some mileage.
Yeah.
Well, it did save me some mileage.
One question one thing that really piqued my interest was the, and I'm sure maybe we got some members that might have some more interest or questions on that. The techs being more involved with the HF, you know, and like you said, you know, anything that's planned right now, it's going to be hard to get anything implemented, but you know, that in looking at the privileges there, that was pretty good. That's pretty generous. Where does that kind of stand? And you know, is there going to be any? Do you see any? If you're going to add the HF, do you see any changing in the testing, and will people be grandfathered in?
Well, what will happen is you're already being tested on it. The way we looked at this, you're already being tested on it. The biggest argument we've gotten from the membership, amongst the membership, is how much phone privileges and where we're giving it. That's been a hard part to do, a hard part to determine. Where do you put it to where they can help out with emergency communications, which was another motivator for doing this, was to get them involved in ARRLs and get them involved in helping us with emergency communications. The digital portions of this spectrum, they already have those privileges. They can already do RIDI, FT8, PSK, any of the JT modes on 10 meters. So they take a test for this. They're already tested on this material to a degree, and they can do it on 10. They can do it on VHF, but they're limited to CW only below 28 megahertz.
Yeah.
And we don't require Morse anymore as a testing. So, you know, that one's kind of a no-brainer. That was just laying there. As N0AX Ward likes to say, that's low-hanging fruit. So we just took the low-hanging fruit. The hard part of this was coming up with the phone privileges. I think, you know, the help out on 80 and 75 meters is something we can discuss and something we can work through. Getting them involved in ARRLs, getting them involved in races. Yeah, I think time's come that we need to consider that, because like I say, it's a whole nother ball game this year. If anything else hasn't proven that. And since they've already got the spectrum for the digital comms, and they take a test for it and they can operate it on HF above 28 megahertz, and on VHF, I don't think that's a far stretch of the imagination in any measure. The HF phone privileges is something that we're going to have to kind of sort out and figure out where we need to go, where it'll benefit, because the way it's being proposed right now, it's going to help some of our states in this division, and it won't help others. So, you know, that's where we need to kind of figure what we need to do.
Yeah, I mean, because I agree. I mean, because here in the Delta Club area, you know, we do have a lot of repeaters, and we've got the activities. So I could see where somebody that's in an area that doesn't have the repeater coverage and everything, you know, tech is pretty limited for some areas.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, you get out like in rural Arkansas, and those repeaters are just quiet.
Yeah.
You sit there, you'll key it, you'll drive through, you can throw your call out there, and the repeater will ID. Nobody will answer you.
Yeah.
There's nobody on. I mean, the Little Rock repeater, you know, buzzes pretty good. It's kind of like Memphis, it's buzzing, and, you know, on down 530 down towards Benton, and Fort Smith is the same way over there. But, you you get outside of those little cluster areas. Of course, Russellville's on, but you get outside of Northwest Arkansas, West Arkansas, Fort Smith area, Little Rock, Memphis, Nashville. In between is just if somebody's in there, they're, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's good. That was interesting to see that y'all are aware that there's a need there and already starting to address it, because I think that would be something that might help maintain some interest for new members or for new licensees. Or as Joe would say, somebody that goes from nothing to being licensed. So
yeah. And it's like I say, when you do something like that, it's setting the hook. We're setting the hook.
Yeah.
And once we get them into that they can see all the different things we can do, that it's not just limited to repeaters, VHF line of sight work. Now 6 has been awesome. I'll say that. We've had some great 6-meter openings in the last couple of 3 years. But, outside of that, we got to do something to get them to where they see what's available out there, what they can do, all the different things that's available to an amateur radio operator, and they can work the world. They don't have to get on the internet. They can do it right there with the radio and a piece of wire, piece of aluminum. You got them hooked. I mean, there's still magic in radio.
Yeah.
Back when I was a kid, that was just magic. It's still there. It's still there.
Yeah.
What about the $50 fee for any changes?
Well, that proposal's been floated out there, and everybody's lighting up the FCC website with the basically, excuse my French, not no, but hell no, we're not going to pay it. There is a little bit of what I would call affirmative or positive feedback in there, but if you'll notice those responses, they're all the same. That's a canned letter floating around. No, that's we're going to fight that. I think the $50 for a license is just absolutely going to be a detriment to something that we're already having some issues with growth. We don't need to do that, and the FCC needs to realize it. I mean, I know what it is. Well, it costs this much. Let's charge them $50. That $50 that they're going to get off of us is not a drop in the bucket. It'll probably cost more money for them to try to collect it and administer the program. No, the league's absolutely opposed to it. I think we kind of sat back for a little bit trying to see where the membership was going with this. I could have told them where this membership and this division was going with it. We don't like it.
I mean, I can see it being somewhat less, but then it'll cost them more to administer it than the revenue that they're going to get. Look at the vanity call sign program.
Yeah.
And what they did with it.
Yeah, they quit trying to collect the fees on it because it's cost them too much money to collect the fees. Well, this is going to be the same thing because it was the same, at one point in time, the same price they were charging for that, for the vanity. And you got to run into the same thing here. I mean, there's not enough revenue to be collected from amateur radio licenses to pay for this. Now, looking at the whole thing, and this is where it kind of got us, so to speak, looking at the whole thing, well, we're going to charge X amount for all these licenses. Well, yeah, they could probably make that, but for us alone, the amateur service, it's going to cost them more to administer our part of it than they're going to collect. So, that, that's one point we're going to make, and they'll probably say, yeah, you're right, back off. But the league's going to fight it. We're absolutely going to fight it.
Okay. Anybody have anything?
We're going to sick Rick Roderick on them.
Anybody have anything else for David or Ed while we got him on the hook here? All right. Well, David, you know of anything? Is anybody sticking their neck out and saying that they're going to be doing anything as far as activities next year, or is it just hard to say?
Yeah, there's a number of things still on the books. They're talking that they're going to do Dayton. They're still saying we're going to do Dayton in some form. we'll see. But all the officers of DARA over there, the Hamvention folks, they're all saying, yeah, we're going to do it. Now, Orlando canceled.
Yeah, Orlando can't. For us, I said for us for this division, we already heard that Jackson, Mississippi canceled.
Jackson canceled too, but part of Jackson's problem too, I don't know that facility issue they're having. That may have weighed, but still, there's still the COVID situation's weighing on them more heavily than that. But maybe Jackson will get back next year in a new building. We can all hope.
Maybe COVID's a blessing for Jackson.
I think you're right. I wasn't going to say that, Joe. But that old building's the old Trade Mart. I love the old Trade Mart, but it's seen its better days. Those bathrooms are something else. Woo!
And $10 with one drawing ticket, they could have at least kept the 2 tickets in the that they gave out when they increased the pricing.
Yeah.
But I mean, the tables were sparse this past year.
Well, last couple of years, I've noticed, it's kind of shrunk up a little bit, and I don't know how much that's facility, related or what, but they definitely got a building issue going on. Of course, they got the new one being built next to it, and they're going to tear that one down, and we'll just see what happens with Jackson. I don't think Jackson's going to go away, but they're going to have to, reconstitute some stuff, so to speak. And I'm sure they will. That's a pretty good, that Capital City bunch down there is pretty good group of guys. I think they'll pull through on it, and we'll have something in 2022. But as far as I know, Dayton's still on. Trying to think what's down the road. We do have one in Mississippi coming up in November. And as far as I know, the New Orleans Ham Fest is still on, but I don't see that one happening with the things going on in the state there like they are. That may get pulled, but so far they're still saying they're going to do it.
What about Huntsville? Is it on the books for next year?
Yeah, it's on the books. Talking with Mark, their go for now, and I think surely this thing will have played out by then. It's already kind of changing, even though I've got a good friend that's got it right now and having a rough time of it. But I think the virus is changing.
Good. All right. Anybody have anything else for David or Ed? Anybody have anything for anybody?
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Oh, appreciate it. We do appreciate it. And
well, I got one thing. If anybody wants general class, need to send me an email with the subject line general class and their name, call sign, and cell phone number and email address to get it going.
Okay.
Get it
right.
Keep recruiting. Keep recruiting.
Hey, we've been doing pretty good. We've been doing pretty good. It has been a challenge this year. It's hard to get members when you're not even hardly meeting, but we've been doing what we can, and we'll keep it up. All right. If nobody has anything else, do we have a motion to adjourn? Richard's ready. Richard needs to go get some more wine, it looks like. Okay. Have a second. All in favor? All right. All in favor? All right. Don't forget to clean up around your areas and put your chair under your tables. We'll see you next month.
Good night, everybody.
7 threes. Goodbye.
Take care.
Night.
Dave.
Night.
Night.